kanye ne-Go Digital SA Foundation. Thamelani izifundo ze-mathematics, i-accounting, isiZulu ulimi lwasekhaya, isingisi, i-FAL, i-physical science, i-geography, ezobuchwepheshe, i-computer applications technology, kanye namaklasi e-learner wellness, okungukuzilolonga ngokomqondo kanye nomzimba. Lezi zifundo zethulwa nsuku zonke kusukela ngoMsombuluko kuya ngoLwesihlanu, kuqala ngehora lesi-4 kuya kwelesihlanu, u-4 kuya ku-5 ntambama, nangomgqibelo kusukela ligamanxe ihora lesi-8, 8:30, kuze kugamanxe ihora lokuqala emini, 1:30. Zithameleni futhi lezi zifundo emsakazweni Ukhozi FM njalo ngoLwesine kusukela ngo-9 kuya ku-10 ebusuku. Ningangena ekhasini lethu lika-Facebook elithi Go Digital SA_movement noma kwi-YouTube uthi Go Digital SA Foundation. Siyethemba nizolijabulela lolu hlelo oluhlose ukunifundisa futhi lulekelele kulokho enikufunda ezikoleni zenu. Luthokozeleni ke lolu hlelo, nimeme nabo bonke abanye abafundi bebanga le-12 grade 12 ukuze nabo bazuze kulo futhi nonke nicijeleke ukuphumelela kwizivivinyo zenu zokuphela konyaka.
Sanibonani bafundi ba grade 12. Igama lami nguMuzi Mthembu, i-tutor ye-geography. Namhlanje sizobheka i-geomorphology. Njenge-chapter nje yonke sizobheka ukuthi sikhava sigcinephi, ama-concepts abalulekile, ama-concepts ajwayele ukuphuma kwi-exam nama-processes ekuzomela ukuthi siwalindele kwi-exam. Asibheke i-geomorphology ukuthi yini konje i-geomorphology. I-geomorphology i-study sama-landforms la atholakala kuma-earth surfaces, siphinde sibheke nama-processes that creates them. Now khona into ethiwa ama-flyval geomorphology grade 12 bazokhumbula-ke abaningi ukuthi ama-flyval features, sikhuluma ngama-features akhiwa structure of the earth. Into yokuqala nje sibheke nje ukuthi i-geomorphology yini, njengoba kade sishilo ekuqaleni sithe is the study of the landforms found on the earth surface and the processes that creates them. I-flyval geomorphology kule section it deals with the action of water on the earth surface, and igama elisi flyval lisho ukuthi is the action of running water. Uzokhumbula ke ugrade 12 usenza ugrade 10 ngalesi sikhathi benza i-water cycle babethi amanzi emhlabeni awu 100% and amanzi emhlabeni abelokhu 100% million years ago, so which means awehli. Yabo nje makuthiwa mhlawumbe kune drought kanje, abanye abantu baye ukuthi khona into ethiwa ama-boreholes. Ama-boreholes ile mpompi le etholakala ey'ndaweni ezisemakhaya la amanzi aranayo asemapayipini engekho khona, so kuye kwenziwe ama-boreholes la kufakwa khona amapayipi kudrilwe ekhishwe ngaphansi kwamatshe. Now i-groundwater iyisize nje ukuthi silento sithola amanzi okuphuza, sithola amanzi okuwasha even ney'mpahla zethu. Then bese kuba khona i-table water. I-table water yona-ke sikhuluma nge-upper limit of i-saturated zone. Sichaza ukuthini lapho? Sikhuluma ngamanzi lawa atholakala lapha phezulu nje, especially made kunethe kakhulu kunalezi imvula nje lezi ey'ningi, so isihlabathi sinokubamba lamanzi layo siwabambe, and uma unothisa nje uyihambela mhlambe emgaqweni after 2 to 3 days uwabone lamanzi ehla mhlambe ezehlela nje emgaqweni yahambela uxake ukuthi mhlamba aqhamuka kephi. So kwi-water table leyo grade 12. Then sichaza ukuthini masithi saturated zone. Saturated zone i-part of the crust. I-crust ile part lesihlala kuyona thina-ke as abantu, part of the crust where all spaces are filled with groundwater. I-surface runoff. I-surface runoff yona khuluma ngamanzi avele ehambe nje ngaphezulu kwesihlabathi, and usually kujwayele ukwenzakala leyo process after sibe ney'mvula ey'nkulu, uthola amanzi aseyahamba-ke manje on top of the earth surface, and lawo manzi lawo siwabiza nge-surface runoff. noma nje it's just purely i-runoff. Asibheka ama-tributaries. Ama-tributaries sikhuluma ngalezi lemhosha le emncane etholakalayo eyijoyine i-main stream. So it's a smaller river joining the main river. Ama-streams nje amancane nje lawa asuke ehambela nje amanzi. Sabiza ngemhosha ngesiZulu. I-confluence yona-ke ileli point whereby kunendawo ehlukanisa imfula ewu-2. So it's the point where two rivers join. It's actually iyahlangana. Isuke ihlangana lapha na grade 12, so iya-confluence ihlangana ndawonye. So uzokhumbula grade 12 ukuthi kuma stream orders masikhuluma ama stream orders, uma kuhlangana stream order number 1 no stream order number 1 kuhlangana stream order number kwenza stream order number 2. So la leli point la abahlangana khona ke labo stream order number 1 ila sibiza nge-confluence khona ke. River system sikhuluma ngama networks of all tributaries ke lemhosha le emncane izohlangana izojoyina ndawonye to form one river that flows into the sea. So lama networks lawa ayahlangana, networks of streams ahlangana ndawonye bese eforma umfula wodwa. Lo mfula egcineni ugcina usuhambe wayolwandle. Siyazi ukuthi grade 12 yonke imfula yethu sinayo nje in our country South Africa egcinela olwandle. Amanye ama concepts kumele siwabheke grade 12 will be i-direct runoff. I-direct runoff, this is water flowing over the earth in river channels. Then bese kuba khona i-indirect runoff, la manzi khona ke a feeder into the river by either a surface runoff noma i-base flow. I-base flow sichaza ukuthini nge-base flow grade 12? Sichaza ukuthi nje ilamanzi phela ke la afida imfula, especially lapha kuma river valleys, lamanzi esuka lapha na ku ground water asuka ngaphansi ematsheni. So it's water feeding river valleys from the underground. So asuka lapha ngaphansi komhlaba. I-source, masikhuluma nge-source grade 12, sikhuluma la umfula oqala khona. The-source of the river ilapha phezulu kwi-catchment area. Siyazi ukuthi yonke imfula yethu iqala lapha kwi-catchment area la sithola khona i-precipitation, la sireceive khona imvula eningi. Then bese i-supply wonke ama-streams, yonke imfula eventually igcina i-supply even amadamu, igcina isiyofika le ezansi ngasolwandle. So la ifika khona ngasolwandle sibiza nge-mouth. I-mouth, it's where the river enters the sea. Ila ukugcina khona umfula ye grade 12 njengoba kade ngishilo ekuqaleni ukuthi imfula yethu yonke ihambe izifike laphayana olwandle la ichithela khona. Inde sibe nenye concept ethiwa i-watershed. So i-watershed sikhuluma ngama high lying grounds around a drainage basin that separates ke manje one drainage basin from another. So i-drama drainage basin sizwabona as we go further along grade 12 with our lesson. Okay, grade 12. Njengoba kade ngishilo nje ekuqaleni ukuthi amanzi la emhlabeni awu 100% in terms of capacity yawo, awu 100%. Awekho amanzi aluzekayo, awekho amanzi aphelayo aya somewhere else. Instead aya circulate nje, ayi-cycle. Now aqala kephi ke amanzi grade 12? Mawuzokhumbula lesson ya grade 10, amanzi imvula yethu igenerateka laphaya olwandle la esina more water vapor khona. So once saba ne water vapor nje, i-condensation will form. So i-condensation is a formation of the clouds. Then bese air transporteka azotransporteka ile process esibiza nge-wind. So i-agent kahle not a process but it's an agent. I-transporter land i-transportela towards i-land. La uzofike kunethe khona ke manje grade 12. Mayinetha lapho imvula sibiza nge-precipitation. So mayinetha ke imvula grade 12. Remember ngithe most of the time kunetha lapha ngakwi-catchment area yethu kuma high lying areas la esithola khona zonke imvula zethu. So mayinetha ke imvula grade 12 dependa ukuthi i-amount yakhona injani. Uma iningi imvula we are bound to have we are most likely to have more of a surface runoff. So amanzi azoflow on top of the earth surface. Uma less imvula, kuzoba na more of infiltration whereby amanzi eshona phansi manje ehlabathini, depending ukuthi kunasiphi ihlabathi futhi nalapho. And then also if sinayo imvula eningi, mhlambe leyo mvula inethela endaweni ene vegetation eningi, nalapho futhi grade 12 we are bound to have more of infiltration. Lapho suke sibheka phela the type of soil, even the types of rocks that are there ngaleso sikhathi. So surface runoff yona ke izosiza phela ke ukuthi kugcwale imfula. So imfula once yagcwala nje kuzoba ne stream flow esizohamba phela selapha yana olwandle. Sifike si discharge khona ke ngoba ila amanzi egcinela khona. So grade 12 can see now ukuthi nathi catchment area yethu la kunetha khona imvula. Once kwanetha imfula iyagcwala kuba nama runoff emasayidini, kugcwale lama tributaries amancane lama small streams ajoina i-mainstream egcwale eziyogcwalisa the mainstream le ezoflowela lapha yana olwandle. Then once yaflowela kolwandle so nje i-flow of this stream iya olwandle siyibiza nge-river discharge grade 12. Now as you can see right here ngaphansi ngine-water table. I-water table yona ilapha yana next to the earth crust phezulu. Ngezansi kwalana sine groundwater, so which means i-groundwater ihlala yona ngaphansi lapha yana, ihlala ematsheni. Now zu 3 ke grade 12 izinto ezibalekile eaffecta i-infiltration ungena kwamanzi ngaphansi komhlabathi. Okokuqala we're looking at ukuthi there's enough porous soil, amanzi that allows phela ke manje ukuthi amanzi eshone phansi lapha yana, to allow the water to infiltrate through it. Then factor number 2 would be time, isikhathi. Time for the surface water to be absorbed into the ground, shone phansi. Now let izo affecteka by ukuma kweslope ke manje. Could be steep, it could be gentle. And then also the nature nje, inature yemvula ukuthi ikanjani leyo mvula, mhlambe iheavy noma mhlambe nje ikahle, moderate. Then bese kuthi factor number 3 grade 12 sibheka i-vegetation. I-vegetation yona inokuslower down i-speed of i-runoff, inokuslower down amanzi ithi kwabamba kancane, especially manginotshani mhlambe manginehlahla inokwabamba kancane amanzi. So lokho kuzoyenza kube lula ke ukuthi infiltration iyenzeke. Asibheka ama factors ke grade 12 nama impact on i-groundwater ke. Na ama factors. Factor number 1 alidayo to ilento infiltration. Sibheke i-porous rock. I-porous rock la sizoba na more infiltration and less runoff and more groundwater only if ne porous rock. But the rock if it's not porous ke kuzoba ne less infiltration, amanzi azongena kancane lapha ngaphansi ehlabathini, so kuzoba na more of a surface runoff and then again sizoba na less groundwater because amanzi ngeke safika lapha ngaphansi komhlabathi, ngeke safika lapha kuma rocks ngaphansi. Another factor esibhekayo is isikhathi. If we had more time, if there's more time, yes, on a gentle slope, kuzoba na more of infiltration, kuzoba na less of runoff, surface runoff, and more of groundwater. But now, if there's less time, if this takes place on a steep slope, imvula inetha lapha kuma steep slope, there will be less infiltration ngoba phela kuzoba kuna more of runoff, amanzi azobe egijimela nje eintabeni. So mayigijimela eintabeni azohamba ekuma mainstreams akhona, so by that kuzoba na less of groundwater. If sine vegetation eningi as a factor, lokho kuzo encourage more of infiltration, less runoff, and more of groundwater, because this allows phela ke manje vegetation iyakwazi ukuthi ibambe ke manje lemvula lesinethile ibambe and then so that izokwazi ukushona phansi mayisishona phansi ke ila that is more likely ukuthi sibe nani groundwater. Then if sine less vegetation amanzi azobe sehambela phela manje, so which means kuzoba na less infiltration since amanzi azobe ehamba, since there would be more runoff, as well as that will lead to less groundwater because they are not going to actually infiltrate ephansi laphana ematsheni. Now grade 12 nginesource ke lana ke ekhombisa the impact of rock type, time and the vegetation on groundwater. As you can see laphana grade 12 sine precipitation. Precipitation it can come in any form, but lana nje sibheke amanzi kakhulu most of the time. So precipitation yethu uma inetha imvula yethu kuzoba ne-infiltration. And uma ubheka kule diagram yami la kule source yami grade 12 la ngine-infiltration, the amount of infiltration, and then also lapha ezansi ngine-water table sibheka ilevel yakhona ukuthi i-more kephi i-water table than the other. So la as we can see on the side the water table is so close to the earth surface, but now ngale la okune vegetation khona the water table ithe nje ukushifta kancane yaya ngale, so which means amanzi anokubambeka kakhulu la okune vegetation since there is more of infiltration. Then again lana we have moisture loss by transpiration as well as evaporation, and then sibe nama stream runoff right here, and then ezansi lapha yana ke grade 12 sizoba ne groundwater. So as you can see la kune gap enkulu grade 12 ye groundwater, so it goes to show phela ukuthi ngoba since kune vegetation lapha yana, since izobamba lamanzi lawa ukuthi ehle from lento ehle emasayidini izowa trap lamanzi lawa, and then that will allow more of infiltration, more of water table, and then eventually ogcineni size sibe ne groundwater eningi. Asenze i-activity ke grade 12. Nansi i-activity ke enginayo lana. Number 1 uthi list 3 important things that should be present for water to infiltrate into the soil. So khumbula ke grade 12 ukuthi sikhulume ngalama factors lawa amathathu. Sathi ama factors that affects the amount of infiltration. Eyokuqala porous rock, eyesibili we're looking at the time, then eyesithathu sibheke vegetation. So by you writing those answers you score yourself 6 marks. And then also number 2, describe how groundwater supplies are replenished, so which means are filled. Now la sibheke ukuthi yes groundwater supplies are replenished by precipitation. So bayabuza nje grade 12 in simple terms ukuthi groundwater igcwaliswa yini egcwalisa groundwater. So iyodwa into egcwalisa groundwater imvula kuphela mayinethile, and then ke amanzi azogcwala lapha yana kuyilento. So now number 3, why is it important to manage, to look after groundwater? Kubaleke ngani ukwenza sure ukuthi sayinakekela groundwater? So groundwater siyazi la eSouth Africa ukuthi ne shortage of water, so we need to ensure ukuthi we sustain the supply of water. We need to make sure that we manage siyawanakekela amanzi. So grade 12 nanka ama possible answers that you can actually write ku exam yakho. Number 1 is say porous rock. Number 2, time for water to infiltrate. Then sasasithi yini egcwalisa konje groundwater. Sathi groundwater it can be supply replenish igcwaliswe precipitation. Sabuza futhi ukuthi indaba kumele sinakekele amanzi la eSouth Africa, groundwater la eSouth Africa. So eSouth Africa, as I've said again, sine shortage yamanzi, so kumele senze sure ukuthi whatever amanzi esinawo siyawanakekela, we take care of them. Rivers. Now, when there is less infiltration, there will be more of a surface runoff that will take place, grade 12. So nje kuqala as issues flow where amanzi eflowa esuka phezulu entabeni ehla egijima ezansi, but very soon i-water flow if igcine ilidele to ipath ebizwa ngani i-channel flow la amanzi azochaneleka ke manje ekephi eindaweni zawo njengani imfula. Then also when we study ama rivers grade 12 la ka 12 nje into esiyibhekayo, we look at the different types of rivers. Kubalekile nje as ama geographers as grade 12 ukuthi sazi ukuthi mangaka ama types of rivers esinawo, especially nje in our country in South Africa. Now, as you can see, la grade 12, yes, we have a permanent river, we have a periodic river, and then also the episodic river. So as well big grade 12 in more details ukuthi achaza ukuthini ke lama types of rivers and singawabona kanjani ke lama types of rivers. Eyoqala say permanent river. Ma permanent rivers wona asuke nje ahlale namanzi unyaka wonke. Kusukela ngoJanuary kuzoshaya uDecember asuke namanzi. So i-flow of river nje isuke i-guaranteed. So it flows all year round and is always in contact with the water table. So which means even groundwater lapha ezansi ne-water table inakho ukuwa-supply lama rivers la esiwabiza ngama permanent rivers. So emapini yakho grade 12 lapha paper 2 kumele uwazi ukuthi uyi-identifya kanjani i-permanent river. So usually njengasemapini yasePongola nje khona i-thick band of i-blue line. So leyo blue line le uma i-thick kanje inganayo ama-gap sibiza nge-permanent river because that river runs throughout the year. Bese siba ne-periodic river. Periodic river yona is only flows during ama rainy seasons. Ngizokutshela nje example njengamanje. And then also they are in contact with the water tables only in rainy seasons. Njengamanje senhlambe it's summer and isinemvula eziningi. So imvula yethu izogcwala obviously. And then uma kuyi winter, i-winter siyazi ukuthi i-winter it's a dry season. So imvula azibibikho kakhulu. So le mvula yethu le izoba dry, izokoma, ngeke ize ibe namanzi during winter ngoba imvula encane. But ngesama since ziningi and then we are bound to have amanzi amaningi. Then bese siba ne-episodic river. I-episodic river yona it's only flows after ama heavy rains falls. When ama runoff flows into the river and they do not come into contact with ama groundwater, mama water table. So ama episodic river uthola ukuthi mhlambe kuyanetha mhlambe manje mhlambe kuthatha 3 days kunetha heavy rains. Imfula ke lo mfula episodic river izogcwala. Then after lezo imvula lezo amanzi azophela. Koze qhamuke ezinye izimvula futhi and then amanzi ephinde eqale phansi eflow. River discharge. Last sibheka the amount of water flowing out of the river, which shows many aspects of the river. And then also when the surface runoff enters a river, the amount of water flowing into the river, what does it do? It increases. Asibheke ama drainage basins. Ama drainage basins, concept grade 12 le abantu kuyibuza kwi-exam bethi what do you mean about drainage basin or define the term drainage basin. So uzosho ke ukuthi this is the area drained by a river system or stream networks. And uma ubheke la grade 12 ngine source la diagram yami engiyibekile yama drainage basin. So it's a drainage basin eyodwa engiyiphikile lana ngafaka imfula yami, then ngafaka nolwandle lapha yana. So as you can see grade 12 lapha phezulu sinala kuqala khona umfula wethu. So umfula wethu ziningi indawo la oqala khona. Sinama streams amaningi ahlukene la qala khona imfula yethu. So la qala khona imfula yethu grade 12 le ndawo sesiyibiza ngani ngesource. So it's a river source. It's where the river starts. Then la kuma perforated lines lama dotted lines la esinawo lapha yana watershed yethu leyana ebuye ibe catchment area. So watershed ihlukanisa ama drainage basin. Ungathola ukuthi nenye drainage basin ngala ka left mhlambe kukhona enye ngale ka left. So le area le so wahlukanisa lama drainage basins sibiza nge watershed. Then phezulu nje lapha yana is our catchment area. So this is where we receives our rainfall, and then bese ngena la kule mfula le irun through iziyofika kephi lapha kwi river mouth where the river enters the sea. Asibheke drainage density, which is chaza ukuthini nge drainage density. I drainage density it describe ukuthi mangaki ama streams alapha kuleyo drainage basin. It describes how many streams there are in a drainage basin. So uma emaningi siye sithi i-density is very high, yabo. And then bese siza futhi nama reasons alokho ukuthi indaba sithi i-density is very high. So sizobheka lokho grade 12 at a later stage. And then also drainage density is affected by the same factors that affected runoff masakhumbula ne-infiltration. Porous rocks noma soil where the amount of vegetation that is there yona izodetermine ke ukuthi density yethu izoba njani. Even neslope sethu, islope sethu sizodetermine i-drainage density yethu ukuthi izoba njani. If islope sethu sisistephu kakhulu kuyilapha kuma catchment areas, then ama density ethu azoba i-drainage density yethu izoba high. Asibheka factors affecting runoff and infiltration. So more infiltration will cause fewer rivers to occur. Ngoba amanzi phela azobe shona phansi. Izobe causa ini leyo nto grade 12 causing a low drainage density. So la okune vegetation khona eningi noma okune infiltration eningi will have low density. So azoba mancane ama streams azotholakala kuleyo ndawo. But if kuna more runoff amanzi egijimela nje kakhulu on the earth surface, that will cause more rivers to occur. Why? It's because kuna more of runoff, so maningi amanzi ayegijimela nje freely, causing a high drainage density. And then again, if there is lots of vegetation, is causing more of infiltration. And then lastly, we're looking at a very little rainfall. If there's very little rainfall, so the ground can still hold more water, causing more of infiltration. Asibheke ke grade 12 singakabheki nje lapha nama drainage basin wethu number 1 kuma drainage basin number 2 ukuthi sinani. Uma grade 12 sibheka la kwi source yethu uzobona ukuthi sinama drainage basins awu2. Khona drainage basin number 1, khona drainage basin number 2. And you can see the amount of streams ukuthi ahlukene mancane ama streams atholakala lapha na drainage basin number 1. Yes, maningi atholakala lapha na ku drainage basin number 2. So nje lokho nje in all ukutshela indaba. So grade 12 ungathola ukuthi unumber 1 wakho lapha yana. It's either uwe-middle course noma uwe-lower course of the river la imfula yethu ingasagijimi kakhulu nendawo yethu siqala ukuba gently siqala ukuba flat. But now with drainage basin number 2 you can see ukuthi there is like very high volumes, very high density. So i-density yalapha yana nje inkulu kakhulu kunama streams amaningi inqwaba. So the reason why ama streams emaningi kanje is because the drainage basin le itholakala lapha yana kwi-upper course of the river la imfula yethu isuke isaqala khona and isanamandla because iflowa ey'ntabeni. So amanzi aqhamuka from left, from right, aqhamuka yonke indawo side by side. Then bese eza ezojoyina i-mainstream phakathi nendawo. Leyo mainstream leyo eventually igcine isiflowela into the ocean. So sesi-analyzile grade 12 ama-source ethu amabili. Asibheke-ke grade 12 ku-drainage basin number 1 ukuthi yini esinayo. Sizobheka grade 12 ukuthi u-drainage number 1 has fewer tributaries, lemfula lemncane lengenela kwi-mainstream, fewer tributaries, so it has a low drainage density. Number 2, eminye imfula amanye ama-reasons for ama-low drainage density, it could be imvula mhlambe uhlobo lemvula esinalo. Ngathola ukuthi mhlambe imvula enetha lapha ku-drainage 1 ngathola ukuthi mhlambe i-soft kakhulu, so iyona ekhoza imvula ukuthi ishone phansi instead of ukuthi irun freely, cause more streams. So imvula esoft cause more of infiltration. And then again ungathola ukuthi le drainage basin isendaweni egentle, njengoba kade sengishilo ukuthi mhlambe ngatholakala kuma middle course noma kuma lower course. So kuma gentle slopes siyazi ukuthi imfula yethu ayigijimi kakhulu, ispeed sakhona velocity low kakhulu, so that will cause also more of infiltration, preventing ama streams amaningi ukuthi eformeke. Asibheke u-drainage basin number 2. U-drainage basin number 2 njengoba sibonile grade 12 kwi-source yethu ukuthi sina more of ama-tributaries. Ama-tributaries ethu singasho-ke manje ukuthi i-density yakhona is very high. Why? Is because miningi imfula ejoyina ama-streams, especially kuma-acute angles, angles of less than 90 degrees. Then some reasons for a high drainage density include things like imvula enkulu. Uma sinemvula enkulu sizoba na more of i-run off phela grade 12, so amanzi azogijima ngamandla. Uma egijima ngamandla azodala imfula eminingi ukuthi yenze, especially lama small streams amancane emhosha eminingi izoba khona. Then sizoba na more of i-run off, and then also even slope sakhona. Slope mase step kakhulu sizokwenza ukuthi makunetha kakhulu imvula esheshe ihambele cause more of the surface run off. Then also ngathola ukuthi kuyona le ndawo lena kule drainage basin there's very little vegetation ezokhoza i-surface run off eningi. And then lastly ke mhlambe singabheka ke amanye ama reasons as mhlambe lots of rain, so the ground cannot hold amanzi anymore, causing more and more water to actually run, yabo ehambele nje kahle egijimele. So in that way bese ekhoza efoma ilento iy'trimu eziningi lemhosha le esuke ilento esuke around leyo drainage basin. Asibheka ama-types of rivers grade 12. Ama-types of rivers ekuqaleni njengoba kade sishilo nje, we have 3 types of rivers. We have a permanent river which flows unyaka wonke. Then we have a periodic river la flow nje during ama rainy seasons magnethe kakhulu. And then lastly sine episodic river la lemvula le egcwalisa leyo mvula ngaleso sikhathi magnethe kakhulu. Then also asibheke ama flow characteristics grade 12. I-river discharge le enginayo la grade 12, i-river discharge. Sibheke i-laminar flow. I-laminar flow grade 12 yona iyenzakala lapha yana kuma middle course nama lower course of the river. So which means ngoba ama causes ethu ehlukene ewu3, sine upper course, middle course and lower course, it's highly likely ukuthi le i-laminar flow uyithole lapha yana kwi middle course noma kwi lower course, but kakhulu ithola lapha yana kwi lower course of the river la umfula usuke usohamba endaweni eflat la i-velocity yakhona, ispeed sakhona suke sesidrophile ngale ndlela, usuke usuflat, usuke ungasagijimi, usufoma even ama-features such as meander, usufoma even ama-features such as ama-oxbow lake, yabo, even ama-meander scars, ngoba ispeed sakhona sisuke sesehlile. Then you can see la kuma-arrows ama-arrows ami ngicacisile nje grade 12 ukuthi umfula wami iflowela peacefully la kwi-base yawo kwi-riverbed ku-flat, so which means awekho amadwala atholakala noma amatshe atholakala ngaphansi kwalento kwe-riverbed yami. Then bese siba ne-turbulent flow. I-turbulent flow yona you can see ukuthi turbulent flow irafu-ke yona. So i-turbulent flow yakho ikhoza amanzi ukuthi elento egijima, so amanzi lapho ispeed sawo sisuke si-high and the-turbulent flow itholakala lapha nakuma-upper course of the river la imvula yethu siyithola khona, especially kuma-catchment areas. Ihamba kuma-uneven rocky bed, so kuma-river bed, causing an uneven flow of water. So which means amanzi uma eflowa laphayana ngeke eze flow as smooth. Zobona nje like lezi zinto most of the time sesibuke mhlambe ku TV masibuka ama documentaries mhlambe anjenga ama Grand Canyons, yabo, la abantu behamba ngezikepe benza what you call i-river rafting, begijima lezi ikepe ezincane sometimes ngalezi ikepe ezinkulu. Then also even la in South Africa siyibone leyo nto ukuthi mabenza lento ethiwa iduthi besuka ePietermaritzburg la baqala khona ePietermaritzburg, since iPietermaritzburg is so high phezulu kunaseDurban, imfula yakhona isuke isa rough, so which means kusuke kunamatshe ngaphansi and ispeed sakhona sisuke sasikhulu, so i-velocity isuke enkulu, so sibiza nge-turbulent flow ngoba iflow yakhona ayikho smooth, grade 12. And then also we have what you call drainage patterns. Ama-drainage patterns, grade 12, sibheka-ke lana-ke ukuthi i-drainage ne-drainage ime kanjani, yabo, and i-drainage ne-drainage inamagama ayo asuselwa from ukuflowa komfula lo osuke ukuleyo area, and then also nendawo ngendlela esuke iyona, and even nama-types of rocks la asuke engaphansi kwawo, ngoba even nakwi-exam grade 12 baye bekubuze nje ukuthi okay now since you said it's a dendritic pattern, ngicela usitshela ukuthi yipi underlying rock etholakala ngaphansi kwaleyo drainage system, kwaleyo drainage pattern. Now in a river system, grade 12, siyazi river system ukuthi yini, as I explained ekuqaleni, individual streams flow over the surface in stream channels, and then lama stream channels ke azokwenza njani ke manje, azokhatha into rock surface where it's easiest ke manje to erode. Amanzi ayichuzela nje la okulula khona ukuthi erode ke khona egcine ehambele la yathanda khona. So these channels ke manje will form ama-patterns abizwa ngani, grade 12, ama-drainage patterns, ngoba phela amanzi aseyichuzelile manje ukuthi okay, since there is a softer rock laphayana ngizohamba ngifike ngidle leli rock leya softer rock leyana ngivulele indlela ngifome my pattern. Kwi-exam bengakubuza ukuthi they can ask you to identify the drainage pattern. We identify drainage pattern bese uyasho ukuthi okay now dendritic pattern leyana. Then also they may ask you to describe the pattern or even explain what caused the pattern to occur. Then uzobe ususho-ke phela-ke manje ukuthi okay now ikuleya ndawo ekanjeyana, and then also yini engaphansi, what type of a rock is there. Now uma bekubuza-ke grade 12 ngale question, if bekubuza nje to explain the causes of ama-drainage pattern, you may be required-ke manje ukuthi uqambe-ke manje leliya gama leli lingaphansi le rock, i-underlying rock structure in the area ukuthi ikanjani. La ama-drainage patterns-ke grade 12 Ngala on my left, ngene drainage pattern resembla noma efana nama branches ehlahla. You can see that. So you can see laphayana kuyilento yami laphayana eqala khona umfula ukuthi indawo is uneven, iyimele umathanda wayo. So imfula egcine iformatheka lapha ama channels agcine eformatheka laphayana. Gcine sekufomeka into engazi ukuthi i-branch yesihlahla. Now, into ebalekile grade 12 lana ke, if the source is presented here manje kwi-exam yakho, bazobe sebekubuza phela ukuthi name the drainage pattern. Evezwe laphayana ke ephepheni lakho ke uzobe ususho ukuthi this is a dendritic pattern. Then also describe it. Describe ukuthi isho ke manje ukuthi ime kanjani ke, yabo. So le pattern yakho ye grade 12, the pattern yakho le drainage pattern ibuya njengehlahla ama branches of a tree with ama tributaries joining the mainstream at an acute angle, the angle of less than 90 degrees. If they ask you to explain it ke grade 12, uzobe ususho ke phela manje ukuthi it occurs when the underlying rock is of homogeneous and then or it's equally resistant. So idleka ngokufana, namely horizontal or flat sedimentary rock or even a massive igneous or metamorphic rock. Drainage pattern number 2. Drainage pattern number 2 la sine trellis pattern, and more ibheka ke grade 12 the pattern yakho leyana, you can see ukuthi kunendawo like ecishe idleke ngokufana lapha phezulu, especially engama high lying areas. So uma idleka ngokufana iyaphansi kanje yana, you will have ama streams flowing wonke cishe horizontal ebheke wonke phansi kanje, bese uba nalama tributaries amancane ajoyina ke manje from the side. So as you can see lapha yana phezulu kwa left wami ngizamile ukusimplifyela lesi sketch sami ngakwenzela le yanto ngakubekela nje nge-vertical aerial photograph, ngakubekela ukuthi how sibuka kanjani uma sibuka from the top. Isuke nje i-resemblance, sorry, ilento ifana nento ekanjeyana. So if you see any one of these diagrams kwi-exam grade 12, you will conclude by saying it's a trellis pattern. If tiwanikeza i-description yakhona, you have parallel streams with short tributaries joining at an angle of less than 90 degrees. And then also if they ask you manje to explain it, and then it occurs where surface rock is of alternate resistant, no manje ilento lena strong and weak at times, yabo. And then also where ama sedimentary rocks are folded. So nje these could be ama folded mountains, as you can see. So lama folded mountains azoforce lama streams la ukuthi uma eflow parallel. Then uneyogcina ke grade 12 nginentaba laphayana phezulu, and wonke ama streams ami aflowa from intaba ayemasayidini. So this is my catchment area ke. So i-catchment area yami laphayana ila ngireceive khona more of rainfall. So mayisihamba lemvula ihamba amanzi ahamba side to side, umuntu nomuntu uyayibonela ukuthi uyapi. Now, what type of drainage pattern is this grade 12? It's called radial pattern. Description yakhona, streams flow outwards from one raised point la receive khona imvula yethu. Explanation: rivers flow downhill and away from the highest point, which is our catchment area. Grade 12 ilokhu nginiphathele khona ke kwanamhlanje. So nje asikhumbule nje i-geomorphology yethu is consist of ama fly-valve features that you need to know. You need to know ama concepts, groundwater, water table singakuphambanisi ngoba hleze sikuphambanisi. Surface runoff, sikhumbule leyo nto ukuthi what do you mean about surface runoff, direct runoff, indirect runoff. Sikhumbule ne-base flow grade 12, sikhumbule ne-source, mouth, ne-watershed. I-watershed singayiphambanisi ne-confluence ngoba i-watershed iyona ehlukanisa phela ama-drainage basins ethu, but i-confluence iyona ehlukanisa-ke lama-streams lawa aphakathi laphayana kwi-drainage basin. Siphinde nje grade 12 sikhumbule singakhohlwa nje ukuthi i-precipitation yethu ihamba kanjani. So i-precipitation yethu iyona edeterminayo ukuthi yes, i-amount of infiltration izoba njani uma i-low i-precipitation yethu, i-infiltration yakhona we are bound to have it, but uma i-very high precipitation kuzoba ne-surface runoff and then izoba less infiltration unless-ke kune-vegetation lapho grade 12. Size sibonane nje ngokuzayo grade 12. Nginifisela konke okuhle for ama-upcoming examinations enu, ama-trials as well as ama-final examinations. Ngiyabonga.
Siyathemba nifunde kahle nasithokozela isifundo sethu sanamhlanje enisethulelwe ngezidlokotho ezinhle Ithala libambisene ne-Go Digital SA Foundation. Thamelani ke futhi esilandelayo ngesikhathi sifanayo. Ningakhohlwa ukumema nabanye abafundi bebanga le-12 ukuze nabo basizakale kulolu hlelo. Uma ninemibuzo noma nifisa ukuxhumana nathi, ningasithinta ngokufaka imibuzo yenu kwinombolo yethu ye-WhatsApp ethi 068 151 1072. Mfundi, ungakhohlwa ukubhala isifundo obuza ngaso ngaphambi kokubhala umbuzo wakho. Angiyiphinde inamba yethu 068 151 1072. Siyabonga.